Yes, we are back, and we are back with the one and only Hakeem Webb. I promise you,
Yay.
we are not trying to build up suspense. I actually have my Howard hat here. Hold on, let me put this.
No, you don't.
Let me put that. It kind of
No,
matches your
you
background.
don't. Oh my
Listen,
goodness.
listen. You try to rep for the Trojans. I got to rep for my Vikings. So we
Oh my
literally
goodness.
do not try to put you guys in suspense. It's just some, tech stuff on the back end. And Hakeem has a great wealth of information for us tonight. Once again, I must thank Hakeem for dedicating time out of his extremely busy schedule during these chaotic times in the financial markets to come and try and help us. That's what it comes down to. It's about each one teaching one. A lot of this stuff, unfortunately, we are just hearing for the first time. We rely on others to handle our money without knowing what they're doing, and we don't even know what questions to ask. And so having someone who has spent over 30 years understanding the highs, the lows, the ups, the downs, seeing all of the ebbs and flows that one can experience over the years, it is gold. It is literally gold. And we know gold is through the roof right now for those of you who are following. So, Hakeem, again, just from me and the Gym Nation to you, I thank you. I see some of the Gym Nation people in the chat right now. So if you're part of Gym Nation, that means you're at least subscribed. Go ahead and put a diamond, put a gem in the chat. If you are in some of our other communities, put more than one. Go ahead and put a couple, depending on what other communities you're part of. But tonight, we're not going to waste your time, because I know you guys want to know the answer to some of the most common questions that are being asked, or that even if you're not asking them, you're thinking about them. So we're calling this the Black Investors Survival Guide, right? So if you are a new investor, if you are a seasoned investor, if you are just somewhere in the middle of the road, you probably have not been inundated with as much market news as we are being inundated with now. And it can be scary. The chaos can, create fear. But we're here to hopefully help you kind of manage some of that fear. Well, Hakeem's really here to help you manage that type of fear, because it can be concerning. But like Hakeem always says, pay attention, or no, skate to where the hockey puck is going. That is, in the words of Wayne Gretzky, skate to where the hockey puck is going, not where it's been. And so through some of these answers, you'll be more at ease to kind of pay attention to where the hockey puck is going. And even if not, Hakeem has a whole firm, a whole wealth and financial firm that you can tap into for his expertise. So without further ado, Hakeem, I'm just going to introduce you once again. Just do a quick, for someone who's new here, introduce yourself, and then we'll get into the questions.
Certainly. If anyone would like a full bio information, go to our website, www.ncfainc.org. You can see my career, my bio, etc. 30 plus years in the financial service industry. One of the first Black Americans to put an independent wealth management office on Wall Street. So not only did I work on Wall Street, I ultimately earned the right to buy and be an owner on Wall Street. That's a big difference. There's a lot of people who are employed on Wall Street. Very few are owners on Wall Street. So that gives you the ability to hire people. And I've hired people within this 30-year time period from time to time across the country, for that matter. So in our firm is a full service independent investment advisory firm. So if you are Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, or Goldman Sachs, or JP Morgan, we do a tremendous amount of work with all of them. So what we tend to do is bring Wall Street to Main Street and get you access to everything Wall Street, regardless of how much money you have, whether you're just starting out, whether you have a tremendous amount of wealth, or you're kind of somewhere in between. And we do a great deal of work as our core business model, helping people with their retirement plans at work.
I'm sorry about that. I was pulling up the questions as you were talking. So, as you have heard, Hakeem definitely has the credentials. A lot of times, the people that we see on these financial networks, they don't look like us, right? We don't even know that people like Hakeem exists. And so, thank you, Hakeem, for once again sharing. If there is anybody in the chat who has a question, I always start off by saying, put the Q, the letter Q. Don't do QQQ anymore. It makes me think about
I was so locked in. I thought they were talking about the NASDAQ. I was like, geez.
Just put a Q in front or question mark in front. And don't forget to, I see my moderator in here, Christine, also now known as Delia's Child. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the Gem Nation family. We bring information related to finance, wellness, and travel, all from a cultural perspective. So go ahead and join the Gem Nation family. And again, be sure to get, we're not going to have Hakeem. I think maybe one more week we have Hakeem. So y'all go ahead and make sure y'all get these questions answered, and make sure you get in touch with Hakeem through his business so he can get you right. So, okay, let's just go ahead and get into
it.
The top questions that people are asking now, right? One of the questions is, and I'll just, say it as harsh as I've heard it.
Okay.
Listen, I'm thinking about taking all my money out the market and putting it into cash or putting it under my mattress. So I feel safer that my money won't be, go up in smoke. Can you address that concern and or those questions if people should take their money out of the market?
Absolutely. Excellent question. Again, thanks for having me on. Let me just give a few disclosures ahead of time as well. In full disclosure, our firm, if you was on last week or the previous week or in the 6-week course that I taught some of the lessons on as well, you would certainly have had money put in place and benefited from this volatility versus being subject to it. So I don't talk my book. That's what helps us. We're independent. So we don't sell proprietary products. We don't do anything on commission. We do better when you do better, and we manage money from a fee standpoint, and we align ourselves as a fiduciary with you. And then we eat our own cooking. And by that, I was short the market at different periods of time over the last several weeks. I went massively short yesterday and today by way of putting a short on the Dow. That's when you anticipate the market to go down and you short the index, short a stock, or short by way of buying puts. And so I bought several thousand put options on the Dow, and we had a good day. And prior to that, since last week to present, I was long gold, and I shared with the group last week, the previous time, to be long gold and stay long gold from time to time. You'll do yourself well. Kind of went up short for gold for a little bit intraday yesterday, jumped back, went long, and literally just put a ton of option positions on, going long gold. And we had a great day. We had a great week. We're having a great week. And our clients who don't get a chance to do those kind of strategies, we use an asset allocation for them. And when one asset is going up, typically other one is balanced or going down, and it levels off the risk. We were putting things into cash coming out of last year, going into the election and post the election. We just believed what he said, Donald Trump, President Trump, and we believed that he was going to do a lot of these things. So at the last 2 months of the year, our performance kind of lagged a little bit. But I literally had to tell one of my sisters, I said, listen, I don't have any mark. She was getting on me. You made me a ton of money over here. Why this is not in the market? I said, well, this is the most of your money. And we're going to stay 100% cash because of the time she rolled it out of her retirement plan in the city of New York. We rolled it into cash and we stayed cash. But she was looking at her performance in the other account, and it was like, this one is doing well. Why is not? So I stayed in cash and I said, give it a few. These things gonna start kicking. He's gonna make some moves, and he did, and bam, it tanked. And so she's like, wow, how did you know? Some things you can get it right, and some things you cannot. But there's a slide we have that speaks to the different times in the market and why we don't try to time the market. It's not about timing. I just mentioned a few things where it sounded like I timed it, but I didn't. I've been doing the research and evaluating this for months and months and months. And of course, I've been studying it for decades. And things don't necessarily repeat itself, but they rhyme. They rhyme. And so this chart in front of you shows you if you took $100,000 and you left $100,000 in the market for 20 years, and you decided you were going to try to time it, man, markets are tanking, and the media just puts horrible language out there. The Dow plunged. Well, I don't know about you. I grew up in New York, and, you know, whether living in co-op or living in other places, we had elevators. And the elevator starts at the top floor, and then it goes down to the first floor. I never heard Channel 7 says, Building 28 in Section 5, the elevator plunged from the 20-something floor down to the first floor. They don't use language like that with the elevator. Or you're at the Empire State Building. The elevator plunged 100 floors down. No, it went up, it went down. It went up, it went down. It stopped on number 2, number 15, number 20, and then it went back down, and then it went back up. That's what elevators do. But they never say it plunged, it tanked. No, they just say it went up and down because they want people to get on elevators to go to work and go home and get to their place of residence. And so the same thing is with the market. And this illustrates it. If you got into the market ground level 20 years ago, the elevator went up, it went down, it went up, it went down. Or the market went up, it went down, it went up, it went down. 2008, 6, 7, 8, 9, market went down. And then 10, 11, 12, it went up. It went all the way up into COVID. And then COVID hit and it went down. And then about a year into COVID, going to 2, it went back up. And it's just until February that it started to go down. And so if you put that over a 20-year period, your 100,000 would have grown to $717,046. If you try to time it, this lets you know, well, I'm just going to get out the 20, stay in there for the 20 best days, Hakeem. Yours would have grown to 209. Well, I'm gonna try to time it and miss 10 days, 261,000. Well, what about if I just miss 5 of those days? Because we got 90 days where he said he's gonna do something with these tariffs. Well, 336, and of course, if you miss other 452. So don't try to time the market. Stay in the market. It's time in the market, not trying to time it. And I know it's hard to see your account values drop. It's hard. If you have 1-year time horizon, this strategy is not for you. You would have done this last year. If you have 2 to 3, 2+ years, this strategy is for you. And then you couple it with what we call dollar cost averaging. Now, I know for my women out there, they're going to really get this because my mother was a big time shopper and I used to go shopping with her, Kim. And the shopping would go down to 34th Street, Lower Manhattan, Central Avenue, all over. We'd be all day shopping. And she loved shoes. And she would go, Strawberry, Century 21, all these different places. And I would pick out shoes for her and things. And she knew Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July, President's Day, there were going to be big sales. We're going to Macy's and she would check the shoes and prices. And then she would see the shoes that she wanted. And since she would visit on lunchtime as well and throughout the weekend, she knew, oh, wow, $300 for this shoe. Well, I ain't going to get it now. I'm going to wait to 4th of July sale. And sure enough, 4th of July sale come. Now that shoe was $150. Guess what mom did? She bought 2 pair because she knew it was $300. So she decided to buy 2 pair and said, man, what a bargain. And if you shop anywhere in the Metro Atlanta area and go to Publix, you know Tuesday and Wednesday is buy one, get another one free. And if you don't know that, you'll say the prices are too high at Publix. That's some of the best food, but the prices are too high. But you wait for that buy one, get one free. And if you don't need the other one, they actually reduce the price of the first one, making it even better for you. So what are you trying to say, Hakeem? When your account value goes down, and since you're in your retirement plan, you are doing what we call systematic dollar cost averaging. Every paycheck, you're using your payroll to put money into the market. 200 buys a certain number of shares every payroll. 4,000 buys a certain number of shares every payroll. And when the market was up, you was buying it at a higher price. Now that the market is down, instead of, for example, your 2,000 buying 50 shares, now your 2,000 is probably buying 100 shares. And you keep doing that. So you are accumulating shares now. And the name of the game is how many shares you have, not your account value, because you take the number of shares times the price of the security. And so 10 times 10 is one price, 10 times 100 is another price. And you want to accumulate a lot of shares right now. And then when it goes back up, because it certainly will, can't tell you the date or time, but it will, because elevators go up and down. And now you have more shares, and then that price will go back up, multiplied by the more shares versus the person that came out, went back in, and stayed with 2 shares or 5 shares, if that makes sense.
Makes sense to me, Hakeem.
Lots of sense. Makes dollars.
Listen, dollars, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. You kind of, broke down how if it's on sale, it's a beautiful thing, right? You're not only able to buy one, you can buy multiple, and if you don't try to time the market, right? If you don't try to get out and get in when it's on sale, then over the long term, you will be better for it. But Hakeem, now we all know the news will have us feeling away. So when people are hearing that, oh, this person sold all their shares, or this CEO sold all these millions of dollars of shares, and they're putting all their money in cash, they don't even believe in their company. How do we, as novice or not experts in this area, how do we feel safe to ride this wave, to know what is, like you said, is it just malarkey? Like when they say market has plunged, right? And then when they say a billionaire sold 300 million worth of a share, how are we to know fact from fiction? How do we know if it's the bottom falling out? And how do we prepare should things get worse?
Certainly. Excellent question. So when you're working with your trusted advisor, and hopefully we earn the right to work with you, we are educating you. And a lot of people think that they have to have all of the information and still work with an advisor. That's not accurate. You don't have all the information when you go to your dentist, when you go to your OBGYN doctor, when you go to your internist. You trust those individuals to practice medicine. They actually practice in medicine on top of that. So you trust them. And so you got to find someone you trust. And this individual is going to educate you on these types of things. And so when you are buying an individual stock, or you're buying a mutual fund or ETF, which are buckets or baskets or portfolios of individual stocks or indexes, you have to know what you own. Always know what you own. And again, don't say you can't do it. Don't say it's too hard. Not so. If you wake up in the morning and just think about your daily activities, you wake up, probably start with your prayer, put your feet on the ground, go in the bathroom, flush the toilet or whatever. That's a water bill. That's the water bill. So the water company needs Wall Street. So that's a water bill. And if it's private, that's a security probably trading. You're going to flip the light on. That's utility, your lights. That power company has Wall Street. You're going to brush your teeth. Whoa, that's Procter & Gamble. You're buying toothpaste from them. You're going to put some soap on your face. and so forth like that. And everything we touch in our home, whether you know it or not, it comes in contact with Wall Street some way or the other. You're going to the hospital, Wall Street. Taking your kids to school, Wall Street. Getting on a bus, Wall Street. Getting on the roads, Wall Street. And so everything is tied into Wall Street. Your clothes. And so if you frequent like a Starbucks, which I suggest don't do, if you think about the number of cup and cups you're buying from Starbucks weekly times 12, that could total up to close to $6,000 a year. But if you take that $6,000 and buy Starbucks stock when they are a good buy, now you're benefiting from the corporation Starbucks versus drinking Starbucks. Make your coffee like I make my coffee. Get you a good Nespresso. That is some of the best coffee on the planet. You can't beat it, and you're going to be doing well. But if you decide to get Starbucks, ration it, guess what? You can do also with $6,000. You can attempt to do that 2 years out and then look for a home in the inner city, a starter, buy that home or duplex with a down payment, $12,000, get a good mortgage, and then start renting that out if you want to get in the real estate business and then start getting cash flow and start building wealth with that real estate. And so there's many things you can do if we just recalibrate what we think. And yet, man, everybody buying Starbucks. Everybody going to Dunkin' Donuts. Man, everybody's over there at that store buying those shoes, those sneakers, this, that, and the other. And so then you come back and find out, is it a stock or is it within an ETF and so forth? That everyone has iPhones. Folks aren't buying too much Galaxies. And you can determine where you want to put your money. And so if a CEO comes on to the heart of your question and he or she says they're going to sell their shares in a declining market, that is absolutely sign number one. He or she didn't believe in his own company. And 9 times out of 10, if we do the numbers and look at the balance sheet and income statement and get away from speculation, let the numbers tell you what the company is doing, figure out what they're worth, and then you'll find out that he or she, they really never believed in it, and they're trying to save their assets in their butt as well. And I would go along and start selling along with him and her also, because you probably should have never been in there.
And then another point is, it's also common practice for CEOs to take profit, right?
That's correct.
That is not always a bad thing. Just because the news says that, oh, this CEO sold all these shares, correct. They have tax advantages for selling at a certain time during the year. So you'll often hear it during certain times of the year. So it's not always a bad thing.
Not always bad.
The whole point is, just don't get caught up in the hype. Don't think because
there's tax strategies they got to do. They got to pay their taxes.
Exactly.
You spend all of your time working. You get compensated in shares, or you owned it. The only way you realize it, you have to sell and realize it. So don't believe the talking heads, because they're just trying to get people to watch the news or sell papers or get people to follow them or get their likes up. No, understand what you're in and why they're doing it.
Listen, the game, and I see your question, Moni, so I'll get to that in a minute, but this is a game that has been played for a long time. And that's why it's so important to find someone who is not only knowledgeable in this area, but wants to see people win in this area, right? They're not just in it for a commission or to, make a quota. Hakeem owns his own firm, so he's not reporting to, the Charles Schwabs of the world, or so again, align yourself with.
Don't have to be the quota.
Exactly.
Not tied to my compensation, my retirement plan, my benefits plan. You don't got to worry about saying you miss your quota, you're out of here.
Exactly. So you talk about like the sales that exist and some other, potential things to look out for. But when it comes to opportunities, and we're all hearing the recession word. We've been hearing it for the past couple of years, actually, but it seems like you can't watch anything throughout the day, and that's being on your phone and not hearing the word recession and or even depression nowadays. But what are some of the opportunities that do arise outside of, the fire sales for great companies that happen? Can you share some of those?
Absolutely. And so it's going to start with how we think about these things. Let's start there. And so when I are communicating, when I'm communicating to clients and inform them of the business cycle, and the business cycle is moving into recession, that's to inform them, because knowledge is not power. Knowledge applied is power. There's a lot of people with a lot of knowledge, but they don't apply it and it does not benefit them. So you want knowledge, apply it, and then it will benefit you. And so if you know that it's going to rain, and you watch the meteorologists, although they get it wrong all the time, most of the time, and yet you still believe them and you take your umbrella, at least you are prepared. You don't not go out because it was said that it's going to rain. You use that information and you empower yourself and you dress accordingly. And so the same thing, when we hear these things, don't let fear grip you. Let this empower you. And so, you want to start cutting back on your expenses, cutting back on your debt, cutting back on splurging, tighten up your belt, as mom and dad used to say, and stuff like that. Tighten things up, pull back on how many times you're going out, reshift those dollars into paying down debt or building up a reserve, and get yourself prepared for whatever may happen. And then also have some excitement about it. Are you kidding me, Hakeem? Have excitement about a recession? Absolutely. Have some excitement, not because you're wishing anything ill on someone else because they may lose their job. No, get excited because it's a business cycle. And typically, this is the best way to bring inflation down. And it's at a cost. It hurts jobs and families, and we don't like that. That's the ugly part about capitalism. But when you're excited and know this, then you're preparing, as I mentioned already. And then when it begins to happen, how many remember the financial crises of 2007, 8, and 9? And we was touched somewhat, if not yourself. There was over 20 plus million people out of work. A ton of people lost their homes. And so you know where you lived and you know what that house cost. And you know someone that got in right before the crash and they paid peak dollars. And you were sitting there saying, dang, they paid $600,000 for that house. Man, should we sell ours now? Should we take an equity refi cash out? Because man, we paid $350 for ours. Man, should we get out? What should we do? Well, and some did, some didn't. But that person moved in, put the U-Haul in, and bam, 30, 45 days later, boom, the housing market tanked, as they would say, and hopefully they was able to navigate through, but that 600 went down to 275 or so. Now you on the flip side, if you was able to stay in the place and ride it out, because 2 years later, it shot back up to what we see now with all the highs in real estate. So you want to be in position to take advantage of many of these things versus being subject to it.
And the other thing I just want to add to that is usually when a novice person hears something on the news, like if I turn on CNBC this morning, I'm thinking that the news is current news. Oftentimes, the deal or play has already been made before it is even reported to the Joe public, right? And so trying to find ways to just understand the basics of investing will keep you ahead of the game. So things like knowing that the news really isn't news. Like if I hear right now, Boeing is going to cut jobs by 7,000. If that says breaking news right now across my screen, the market has already known that information.
I've already known it.
Exactly. So people like Hakeem were already aware of these job cuts, but me, Joe Q Public, is like, the stock is going to go down, but the stock may shoot up because the play has already been made. Like it has already dipped. And so just trying to educate yourself a little bit. It's a lot of information and it's not for everyone to try to learn. And that's why you need a specialist to help you through. But just being able to learn the basics to have a conversation, I highly recommend. So I'm gonna ask one more question
Sure.
now before I get to the audience questions,
Yes.
and then get back to the list of questions. But
Go with it.
we're hearing a lot of people speaking about Boeing cutting jobs, right? We seem to every day hear more and more about jobs being cut, um, companies being gutted, DEI programs folding, and all the things. So, for people who are at risk and know it, and maybe not even know it, right? What if a person is unfortunately let go,
Mhm.
um, and they have a 401k?
Mhm.
What is your advice to them? What
Excellent
should they
question.
be doing with their 401k?
Excellent question. Of course, no one wants people to lose their job. It's more than just cutbacks. It's personal. That's a livelihood. That's family lives are getting ready to change no matter what. And Black households are impacted most. And some people is asking me, Hakeem, you don't normally do identity politics and identity types of things. And when they saw the title, Black Survivor Investment Guide, they were saying you normally don't do that, and they're right. But in this case here, bear with me. Let me give some reasons to the point. Let me give some statistics, not feelings, not opinions, but statistics. We still live in a world where statistics and numbers matter. Because men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. So, according to reputable sources, Brookings Institute, St. Louis Fed, NBC, Lending Tree, Social Security Administration, and USA Facts. That's a lot of numbers. So, the average median net worth based on ethnicity, whites, 1.3 to 1.4 million, and this is as of 2022 to 2024. Asians, 1.8 million. Hispanic, 227,000 to 251,000. Blacks, 211,000 to 311,000. We're at the bottom. That's critical because that also ties into how much money you can save and invest and what you're going to do in terms of real estate, college education, et cetera, et cetera. But then you got to dig deeper and read the rest of those sources and find out what makes up this net worth. So the majority of that net worth is in home ownership for whites and Asians, the majority. 22.6% of whites and Asians, their net worth that I just mentioned is in their home equity. And conversely, for blacks, that number gets down to something like, 4 point something percent. And then when you get into where do blacks have their wealth majority in their retirement plans, and you get here again 4.5% in stocks and mutual funds. 35.2% of that number is in their retirement account. So what does that mean? The most of our people wealth is in retirement account. We lag the net worth. And the next would be in real estate. Those two investments, which do get impact greatly when you have a recession or times like this. And so you have an enormous amount of money in these areas, and yet we're not knowledgeable of how this really works. But it's still a small fraction compared to our counterparts. And so many people want to say we got to close the wealth gap. Stop that. That's a myth. You had 400 plus years ahead of me. You're never going to close the wealth gap. That's a myth. Mathematically can't happen. And so you have to do legacy wealth transfer. Let me say that again. You have to have legacy wealth transfer. So you got to build legacy wealth and then legacy wealth transfer. And one of the major ways to build legacy wealth is have life insurance on yourselves. We don't want to do no GoFundMe. We don't want to do no fish fry. We don't want to do a plate passing at church or the mosque or anything like that. No, we want to put some insurance so when you pass, that money is going to transfer to your beneficiaries income tax free, and they're going to have 100,000, 500,000, a million, 600,000. That is legacy wealth transferring income tax free. Then they can repurpose that dollars, go through college without any complication, buy real estate, buy homes, put money in investments, and now we can begin to kind of catch up, if you will. But that's a great way to do it.
And just to tap on to the identity, what did they say? You don't usually
identity politics or identity, type of stuff.
Yeah. And when you have someone who has been through the trenches, right, that it identifies as we identify, we have to start having these conversations.
Correct.
Because our trajectory is not a good looking one. They anticipate Black Americans to have a net zero valuation by 2053.
And that's right around the corner.
Right. We are in 2025. And if we don't do something now, if we do not put our knowledge, what you're saying, knowledge
applied.
If we don't apply our knowledge now, then listen, the writing's on the wall. So
now here's another thing, Kim, with the DEI. Don't even have an argument with anyone about DEI, please. Here's the reason why we shouldn't have an argument about DEI. There's not enough educated white men and women in the country to get employed and help the GDP to service all the debt that America's in. So if they hired all the white people, it wouldn't be enough. So it's not even worth having that conversation because they don't have enough people to hire to support the GDP. And secondly, we see what's going on with Harvard. My goodness, look at this DEI differently. For almost 20 plus years, all of the HBCUs collectively got $16 billion. In 1 year, Harvard gets $9 billion. Holy cow. Absolutely. Take the money from Harvard. Get all of it from Harvard. Take their tax exempt and have all the sisters and brothers coming to HBCUs, VSU specifically, secondary, maybe Howard, maybe LU, but don't go to Harvard and then get even white people, Chinese people, Asian people, African people, let them come to our HBCUs. We've done with so little because we know how to navigate. They are panicking because they're going to lose this $9 billion and they sitting on, 400 plus million in endowment. Spend your endowment. You shouldn't have had a tax exempt anyway. And now let's really see who can compete when you don't have all that money out there and we level the playing field, because we've been putting out educated engineers, doctors, teachers, all kind of stuff with this little bit of money we've got. So yeah, change the thinking on this thing.
Listen, having Hakeem as our lead instructor in the Maximize Assets, Grow Abundance community has been a game changer. I mean, the insight he has, not only for conversations about these endowments, but Social Security, pension plans. Y'all need a Hakeem Webb in your life to really understand what's going on. But the last point I wanted to make before I move on to Moni's question, when Hakeem talked about life insurance policies, one thing that I learned years ago through my, jobs in the finance world, other cultures, let's talk identity, right? Let's talk identity and what they do.
Right.
Other cultures, and I'm not going to call any out, but you can guesstimate, have been taught that they pool their money together.
That's right.
They insure through life insurance and very large policies the oldest members in their family. So if the policy, let's just say there's 5 elders, right, in their family. If those policies average $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month, $20,000 a month, the entire family pays into that. So it's not one person that has to take care of that policy, because the odds are older people go before the younger people, right? And then when that older person leaves with a $20 million policy or whatever, I'm just making up numbers, then
5
it
million,
gets
right?
funneled back to the family,
Income
and
tax
that's
free.
and tax free. And you don't have to, right? You don't have to put it in a trust. You don't have to
Right.
put it in a will.
Nope.
It gets disseminated to the family tax free, and the family continues to sustain. And then they'll take some of that and ensure the next oldest
That's correct.
person in their family.
Wash, rinse, and repeat. That is correct.
Have been doing this for decades. I learned about this when I was like 19, 20 years old. Now, did we
Right.
implement it in my family? No, because I was the only one that knew about it.
Right.
And no, but these are the type of lessons that the other people are taking advantage of, and that we need to start paying attention more. So when we talk
And
about,
there's a deeper reason why we as a people have not done it. This doesn't get talked about enough. When I was the economic chair for the NAACP, I was commissioned to do a report on helping us with reparations.
wait, let's
And
just sit with that for a second. No, we're
yeah,
not just going, we're just not going to blow past that.
what's that?
When you were what, Hakeem?
I was the economic chair for the NAACP Canadian chapter. I was the
Okay. All right. I just
so,
listen, we'd have to run that back for the people that made that. So you could proceed, Mr. Former Economic Chair of the NAACP.
So we were talking about reparations in the late 90s, early 2000s. And we put the numbers together, and I put the numbers together. There's really not a corporation that didn't benefit from slavery. Zero. And one of the major was insurance companies putting insurance on slaves. And so, if you killed your slave, you got insurance. If you left, you got insurance, all kinds of things. And so our ancestors obviously had a bad taste about insurance. And then when we got out of slavery, the ancestors, they bamboozled again. Culturally speaking, coming from Africa, their concept of sharecropper was different than the colonizers' concept of sharecropper. And they took advantage of them. And then they put monies in the banks and they took advantage of them again. And so we have a bad experience historically with these institutions. And that's what has drove many of our community members and family not to trust them. And this is why we have to own the banks. We have to own the insurance companies. We have to own these institutions, whether as a shareholder or as a full-out owner, so that we can gain this kind of trust back in our community and then benefit from these things.
And we have to be able to communicate with each other in our family about these things, because I have seen it firsthand that insurance policies exist in families that families don't know nothing about.
Right.
And then, years later, going through paperwork or finding out later that there was an insurance policy that could have helped the family out, but because no one talked about it, we have to do a better job being comfortable talking about money and not thinking that talking about money is taboo. And so, yes, there's a whole lot of trauma that goes with us when it comes to money, savings, investing, and all the things. So Moni has a question.
What are some of the good resources for a beginner to learn about investing? www.ncfainc.org. Go to our, the web report, and you're able to get a lot of archive articles and so forth. And there's a ton of information on there.
Okay. I saw a question from Shell. Hold on. Now, Shell is one of our Maximize Assets Grow Abundance members. Oh, nice. And hold on. Uh-oh. Go ahead.
I'm ready to move my Fidelity accounts over and see. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. What are the steps? Sure, certainly. You have my number from the course.
I'll make sure she gets it out there.
And make sure she gets it. Reach me, coordinate. You have my direct numbers. We'll schedule a time to meet and do a phone meeting if need be first, a virtual meeting after. And if you're in the Metro Atlanta area, I'll visit with you one-on-one. And then it's real simple. We'll open up your account. It takes you less time to open up an account than it takes to drink a cup of coffee, unless you have a really large kinds of things. It may take, coffee cup and a half. But real quick, set it up, get your account open. We'll call Fidelity together, and then we'll get the process going for you. And within 7 to 10 days, it's out of there.
MSP, I want to shout you out a little later. Let's get through these questions, but congratulations on getting your Mexican residency. I read that briefly, but
Nice.
let's get through these questions, and then we'll celebrate you in a second, Ms. P. Who was a client of Hakeem, right?
That's correct.
Okay,
That's
perfect.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Shout out to her for getting her residency. We talked about that.
Oh,
she got a plan. Absolutely. Shout out for that. What advice would you give a senior who is just beginning to invest in the stock market, who's looking to enjoy their investment as it grows over the next 20 years? Excellent. So senior is relative. And if you're saying 20 years, that's great. Because if you have at least 7 to 10 years, we can get you to where you need to be. Especially if you change some thinking from financial security. That's a Wall Street myth. Believe in financial freedom, because financial security, they keep moving the goals because of inflation, because of cost of living, etc. So that's going to keep you buying and getting this myth of security. And then it keeps you in the keeping up with the Jones. But financial freedom is personal. It'll make you think how much money you need per month. What's your lifestyle? Yours will be different than mine, than the next person. And so when you're at the cocktails or the holidays and everyone's talking about what they got and what they don't got, you know they're embellishing anyway. And a lot of times they don't even know what they got. I always tell a great story on that. A good friend of mine was trying to really pitch me to someone to get their account. And he mentioned one of their relatives and said, oh my goodness, my so-and-so cousin has Vanguard stock and she's killing it. And I'm going to refer to Hakeem, and you should go to Hakeem too. And I had no choice but to say, hold on, time out. She's not killing it, because Vanguard is not even a publicly traded corporation. And so she does not own Vanguard stock. So the truth needs no help. And so we don't want to try to help the truth out. The truth needs no help. And so he was like, oh, wow. I said, now she may have Vanguard mutual funds, which lets you know she may not know what she has. And certainly, and that I earned the right to assist them as well. So don't get caught up in people saying they got this, they got that, they make this, they make that. 9 times out of 10 is not true. And so you want to get to financial freedom, what it is for you and your family to live month to month and enjoy life the way you want to enjoy it. And then you put a plan there, just like you plan to drive from New York to Baltimore, or from Baltimore to Orlando, or take a trip. You plan it out and you get a plan and get there. So for someone who's a senior, I would take account of what you have. I would look to see how you've been doing it. And if you are just truly beginning, then we'll put a plan together and say, how much can you put towards this? First, find out what's your risk tolerance. Risk tolerance is pain. Think of risk as pain. If you like driving fast and whipping it on the highway and the speed limit is 65 and you going 85, that's risky. Because if you get pulled over, snatched, they're probably taking your driver's license and you're going to go to jail. You're going to have a huge bill on speeding ticket. Well, if you like in the cold, your house to be 73, you set your thermostat and you don't care what they report. It stays there. The markets are the same way. Statistics let us know the risk of every security. And if you have a comfort level of a moderate, conservative, aggressive, there are certain securities that follows that, and it will go up and down within a standard deviation, so to speak, 2, 3, 4, 5%. And then you won't freak out when the market drops. You'll be okay. That's my comfort level. And so we'll figure that out first, and then we'll help you to put together a plan and find securities to assist you.
Salon Hakeem Webb. Aisha will start in 15 minutes.
How do we get into foreign markets? I can't hear you, Kim.
Sorry. I just wanted to do a quick disclaimer that if you are asking personal questions for Hakeem, he really needs to know more about you before giving personal advice, right? So the information he's giving is based on generalities. And if you want more targeted answers, feel free What's your website again? Say it again for the people.
www.ncfainc.org. It's very intuitive. You reach us from there. It gets to us. If you're on the online chat, it gets to us in real time. If you send a contact, it gets to us. So don't hesitate. But in general, to this question, how do you get into foreign markets, BRICS? Any recommendation for converting my IRA and Roth IRA to foreign currency, more fluid currency than the US dollar? I would question that strategy. I wouldn't necessarily look to convert it into, especially not one of the BRICS. You can invest in the BRICS using dollar because everything is denominated in dollars, which means it's going to go a little bit more regardless of the dollar, dropping right now. But you can keep your IRA in your Roth and then just decide to put your investments in companies in those respective Brazil, Russia, India, and China is what the BRICS stand for. Most people don't know what that stands for.
And I'm just going to do this because I like both, like you, Hakeem.
Shout out. Do I see someone from VSU up in this mug?
There's
That's
someone
what I'm talking about
up in this mug. Okay, so Cynthia says the insurance dialogue is a priceless one. Oh, listen. might as well get the answers to your questions that you got. So
excellent question.
Yes.
And we did something really special for Kim people because we want you to stay plugged into Kim, follow Kim, participate in what she's doing. So she thanks me, but the truth of the matter is we should be thanking her because she got access to me. We grew up together in Co-op City. Her brother and I very, very close. Oh, I'm sorry about that. And she's like, listen, I got to get Hakeem. And he was like, of course Hakeem's going to help you out, whatever. And so, in this case here, I said, let's help her do what she wants to do. And so we reduced our consultation fee for anyone that's part of her groups. And it's $100 an hour versus what it would be much, much higher than that.
And we're talking in the thousands. So Hakeem is definitely, so just, listen, we're not going to compare notes and see if you really are following me on YouTube. Let's do it the honor system. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and contact Hakeem for the consultation because again,
if someone asked me, someone said, well, geez, that's cheap. You're giving it away. You should be valuing it more. And they're right. But we don't make our money on consultation. That's another reason why. That's really just an offset. We make our money when you make money. And so when you are earning, your accounts are growing, that's when we begin to do well because we do better when you do better.
Simply Smarter Shopping wants to know whole life or term insurance. Which type are you talking about and when insuring the oldest person in a family?
Excellent. And it's based on need and based on how much money you can put to it. If you have short dollars, think of term like your apartment. You just come out of college and you got to get you an apartment. You're not trying to get the one on Fifth Avenue if you're in New York. You're just trying to get you something to get in and have a good place to lay your head. That will be term. And then as you start making moves and earning some more money, you move into a better apartment. And then you move into your first home. And the first home will be like a whole life because now you're accumulating some equity in that first home. But if you like me, after you got that first home, within a couple of months, you say it's too small. You need more pantry. You need more closet. You need more of this, especially if you have kids. And then you step up to another home, but you got knowledge now and you understand this. And hopefully you're buying with some equity and getting cheap going into the next one. So then you get into either universal life. And the universal life is going to allow you to put your premiums just like you do your retirement plan in an index. And then you do well in that. And then you get into what I call the Cadillac of Cadillac plans or the Bentley or the Maybach, whatever, because it's called the variable universal life. And the variable universal life combines all of those into one. And then you have the ability, just like your retirement plan, to pick where you want your premiums to go in various investments. So now your premium is not just going to the insurance company, It's in buckets like the retirement plan, and it has the potential to grow and accumulate account value in there. And then that's what people say they can use that as a bank, and they can when you have that kind of money in there.
And Hakeem, you also offer insurance.
Yeah,
okay.
We do. We offer insurance, and we also offer insurance, which is critical. Excellent. We offer insurance from a fee base, which is different than the majority of insurance, which is from a commission base. Now, granted, full disclosure, when I first started, that was the only product available. And I'm grandfathered in the $1 million round table of insurances. So I'm not against commissions because I got into the $1 million round table of selling them. But I also pushed the market to change commission-based insurance, which is another reason why most people don't like it, because you start giving them a lot of money. 10 years later, it's like, where's my money? I don't got anything. But if you get a fee-based insurance in any one of those products, your money typically goes to work for you immediately. But more importantly, there's no surrender charges on your account. And so if another product comes out, or if we have to change you, you can switch to something else without no surrender. So the talking heads that go against annuities and insurance, they're talking about those high commissions and stuff like that. But if you don't have the commissions, you're good to go. You can transfer anytime you want without any penalties or fees.
So, yeah. So even if you're not looking to do a 401k right now or transferring, talk to Hakeem about insurance, because that is how. And that, let me go to this last question from our general questions, and then we'll get back to one more question that's in the chat. But this kind of aligns. Let me just find it. So how do wealthy people, experienced investors, and these oligarchs, right, handle times like this, times that are on the brink of recession or in a recession? And I know insurance is part of their overall portfolio strategy, but can you share some other ways that
Absolutely. There's nothing under the sun that's new except for mercies and grace. That's it. Everything else is already there, done, or dead. And so the things that we've been talking about, again, great questions, Kim. The things we're talking about, this is what the wealthy oligarchs, billionaires, etc., this is what they do. And so what I'm giving you is exactly what I would give someone who has $10 billion, or if they have $10, because there is no trick. There's no special sauce. It's just getting access, having information, knowledge, apply it, wash, rinse, repeat.
And then
then you find out also, we sometimes think these billionaires and rich people are super smart. How about no? You get in the room and you realize they're not as smart as you or the next person. They just had a little upper hand, or they had some nepotism or something like that, which kind of ties into, DEI. We can't really be mad at them for the DEI. Think about it. How can you be mad for white people taking care of white people? I mean, what's wrong with that? You're going to take care of your people. We should be mad at our ancestors and some of the black folks that got there that didn't take care of us. That's who we should be mad about when it comes to DEI, not them. That's what you're supposed to do. Take care of your people. So we got to take care of our people and those who have the same kinds of values that we do. But it starts with us.
And then I actually had this question before you answered, Hakeem. Someone I met about a little over a week ago. She had watched our videos and she wanted to take advantage code. And I'm actually going to pull up your web. She didn't know how to book it through the website.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
So Moni has the same question.
When you go to the website, across the top, you can pick on wealth management for this group. Wealth management is one of the headers. And then you're going to see book a consultation. And when you book underneath wealth management, it'll be wealth management, treasury, and stuff like that. Book underneath those tabs. Now, if you go to the pre-retirement, you may be a part of one of those employers. And if you pull that up, right, pre-retirement, close that out in the bottom right-hand corner on the X. Boom, close that out. And if you go to wealth management across the top, and there's a place to book, just put your mouse. You see there, book your wealth management at the bottom, bam. And then just scroll, and the calendar's going to come up, and you book your appointment. That fast.
Do they pay there too? Is there a payment option or?
No, you won't pay there.
Okay.
And this is something that I was going to ask you. For now or past, I can do a specific portal for everyone here and just streamline it even more.
I think that
people asked me about that, and I told them I'm going to ask tonight. So yes, we can do that.
Yeah. So, but for now, I guess if you book and you say you're part of the Gym Nation, he will then know how to direct you. So say you're part of the Gym Nation when you book your appointment, and then he'll be able to direct.
I always ask, how did you hear about us or something like that? And then when they say that, we're no. And then if you go to the pre-retirement piece, since we're talking about retirement, on that tab, you click on that and you're going to see a bunch of employers there. And this is just a small number of the different employers where we actually help the employees at their respective institutions and help them manage their money. So click all the way on pre-retirement. Click the tab in itself, scroll down, and it will tell you the different things. And then if you went to book, if you go to the book there, schedule your appointment at the top, go back up, Kim.
I'll go up.
Yes. And then put your mouse over it again.
Over
retirement. And then go down to schedule right there. Yep. Click it. And then you'll see in the Metro Atlanta, here's the hospitals we help their employees there. And if you scroll down some more, this is a ton of institutions around the country where we help their employees. New York Health and Hospital, Oracle, the name goes on and on. Caterpillar. And this is just a micro list, but 9 times out of 10, wherever you work, 9 times out of 10, we're able to assist you with your employer plan there as well. But these are some institutions where we help their employees. Visa, Southwest, Delta, you name it.
And Hakeem has already talked about the solo 401k. That was in a video. We talked about that. Oh my gosh, I don't know if that was last week or the week before, but he can also help you with that as well. There is no excuse, y'all. There's really no excuse for us to not take advantage. Right.
We want to come out on the other side of this thriving.
Not limping, as
That's correct.
Hakeem says.
It's not limping. And it ties into this Holy Week. There's a unique thing about this Holy Week. This Holy Week is special because all the 3 Abrahamic faiths has a part of this month. And they all receive their holy books in this month. And so whether you're Muslim, you just finished Ramadan. Whether you're Jewish, you're going into your holiday. If you're Christian, you're celebrating, Resurrection Sunday, not Easter, because that's a bunny. You don't want to be celebrating a bunny. And so, it's holy in that respect. And so, listen, we don't want, just like the Bible said, they came out of Egypt and there was not one feeble amongst them. So we want to come out of this time period, and we don't want not one feeble amongst us on the other side of this. I don't care who's in the White House. If you're on Kim with the gyms or work with us, there's going to be none feeble amongst us. Okay?
Listen, I cannot have said it better myself. I don't see any more questions, but I do highly encourage you to not only imply that, take this knowledge and use it, be active with it, but share it, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to get ahead. That's the only way that we'll be good when they start taking away all of these, initiatives from us. We'll be okay because we have the knowledge. And not only do we have the knowledge, we acted on it. And so make sure, again, if you have grandchildren, Hakeem can help you set up accounts for them where
That's
you
correct. Don't get those bonds. Don't buy those little savings bonds. Holy cow, $50 and 30 years later is 100. Don't do it. We all had our grandparents do it, but they didn't know better. We don't have to do that now. Absolutely not.
And it doesn't take a lot. And I don't know what anyone's situation is, but if you do $25 a week over the course of 16, 18, 20 years, set that up now. Set that up now.
If you're celebrating birthdays and stuff like that, you know, peel a little bit off. Give them as a gift. I remember I was giving gifts, and I was giving friends and family 529 plans for their kids. And I was giving that to them. And it was like, man, what is this? And then later on, when they had to send their kids to a private school, kindergarten, middle school, college, they went back there and that money was there. So give gifts that way. I mean, my Italian friends, they give big gifts, and I learned that from them. My Jewish friends, my goodness, they give big gifts. We got to give these kind of gifts as well.
Next week, I am going to show this video, even though I do not like this person anymore, but I used to watch Bill Maher, and he had this author. I can't think of her name. She's Jewish. She was on being interviewed one-on-one, and she was talking about, you know, the people that when she moved to California, you know, people were like, oh, you really took a risk. Oh, that you took, what made you do this? And she was like, I'm not the real risk taker. All I did was cash in my bonds. I mean, my stocks that I got from my bat mitzvah, got my apartment, which paid my rent. She said the real hardworking people are the people doing the landscaping, the people doing so I'm gonna launch that video because it does something, it motivates me. Like it motivates me to keep spreading the news. And so I really want us to spread the news.
I've managed and helped a lot of Jewish clientele give those gifts to their children for bar mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs and stuff like that. Even when they're going to study in yeshiva, they raise money for them to be able to go over to Israel and take time off, and they use those type of investments to do that, and they fund it. And believe it or not, it's like it or lump it or agree or not, this is another myth we have in our community. The actual women actually support the men when they go over there. Can you believe that? That's their custom. And so, you know, stop this battle amongst us. Here's my last gem. You know, we don't have the luxury to be saying he got to have 6 figures or she got to. We don't have that luxury. You know, find someone that loves you, that's good, cooperative economics.
Yes.
Put your dollars together. Cooperative economics. You may have to make it work for him for a couple months, but if he's a real man, he ain't gonna let you outdo him. And then, you know, she may have to hold it down for a little bit. And then when she does, honey, you don't got to work no more. And, you know, like, make it work. Don't get into all that TV nonsense.
They knew what they were doing when they created these reality shows, these Love and Hip Hop. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, don't get
and we just need to counteract that by being proactive in the learning process, working with people. Again, those of you that have been with my journey since 2020, when we started this Investing for Independence mission, y'all know I did this for the love, and I still do it for the love. There was nobody paid a dime for nothing for, you know, a while. The only time we started charging was when we started talking about trading. Oh, and I just really wanted to say, child, I bought some puts on the VIX on Monday and made over 50% in less than a couple hours. So I was quite happy with that. But just saying all that to say that we're doing this. Hakeem is coming to us during this. Like I said, y'all could only imagine how busy Hakeem and every qualified individual in the financial world is right now. So again, you know, I encourage you to take advantage of the offer sooner than later. Don't know how long the offer is going to last, but I know you will be better for it. And so again, Hakeem, I just really wanted to thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to shout out everybody from the family in a second. We're going to let Hakeem go. It's been 1 hour and 9 minutes. Hakeem will be back next week. And I just want to recap. So this was all about how to survive during a recession, quote unquote, by answering the frequently most asked questions there will be more questions. There will be more pain probably in the market. But when you have the information, what I used to use as the acronym WOKE, wealth is obtained through knowledge and execution, y'all. You cannot get wealthy without learning and understanding. And then nothing's going to happen unless you put some action behind it and execute. And so when you have someone like Hakeem that can help you with the knowledge, help you with the execution, the wealth will be a byproduct, right? As long as you stay consistent. And so again, I just really wanted to underscore that tonight's session was really just to quell some fears, to make you become more active in your own future. And like Hakeem always says, skate to where the hockey puck is going.
Someone may need to hear this other little component, because they had a piece about the BRICS and currency, and it's a lot of craziness going on. And again, in keeping with this time of the season, when Joseph was running things in Egypt, peace be upon Joseph, when he was running things in Egypt, and he prepared for the 7 years of prosperity, he stashed money away, stored it up, and then 7 years of famine. And then when it got really, really, really bad, they came to him and said, Joseph, money has failed. Joseph never said money failed. Go back and read the text in the Torah in the Old Testament. Joseph said, if you say money failed, he never said that. So watch what you say. Don't buy into the hype from what people are saying. Oh, you're going to lose all your money. No, don't you say that. Don't believe it. It's a hype. And if you have knowledge, you understand that I don't have to say that. I don't have to think that. I don't have to believe that. And therefore, your actions will be different than that. And then again, we're going to come out on the other side of this thriving and not losing everything we have, because we've done enough of that. We lose it and we got to start from ground zero and try to keep getting back up. Not this time. You'll have my commitment to that. Not on my watch. Not this time. Thank you much. We can't hear you.
Thank you, Brother Hakeem.
Thank you
Next
much.
week will be Hakeem's last week. We're going to let him, because it's 5 Wednesdays in April. And so next week will be his last week. Come with your questions and we'll see Hakeem then. Let me just say hey to everyone in the chat. I did want to definitely call out hey LJ is part of the accountability community, and she beat me in here. We had a meeting earlier this evening. Miss P, this is the comment I definitely wanted to get to. Listen, if you're here and you're not subscribed, let me just remind you, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. It helps the algorithm. You've heard it all before, but it really does help to get the information out to more of us. And this is your way to help share, right? If you don't want to share and tell somebody, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let the algorithm do what it do. So Miss P says, I'm joining you from Guadalajara, Mexico this evening. That's where I got my residency too. I just got my residency card and already feeling a sigh of relief, Miss P. So Miss P found Hakeem through the Gem Nation. Miss P is a gemstone. She found Hakeem. She's working with Hakeem. She now has her residency. She is focused on where the hockey puck is going. And so I salute you, Miss P. I salute you for being about that action, taking the necessary steps and executing. Congratulations. Another one of our maximized assets. Hey, Carla, Grow Abundance members. Let me see. Hey, Janet. Janet's another one of our maximized assets, Grow Abundance, and Flawless members. And Carla's also a Flawless member. We meet tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christine will be facilitating tomorrow night's conversation. And I have questions for the people who won from Thursday. So but no, I did a video on Sunday. I guess nobody saw it because I asked the question there. Hey, ABX girl, good to see you. The ABX girl. Yes, MAGA is in the house. Hey, Creative Flavor and Travel. I see the gems in the building. Cynthia, part of multiple communities as well. Good to see you in the building. Let me just make sure. Hey, Tony Africa, tuning in from, I think you're in Nairobi. Welcome back. Welcome back. I can't wait to make it there, God willing. I cannot wait to visit. Let's see. I just want to make sure I shout out hey, Agent Dawkins, welcome back. Good to see you. Yes. Hakeem's information, Vitality Journal, the Vitality Journal. Chef's kiss, as they say. Chef's kiss, as they say. We got to extraterrestrial. I just want to shout everybody out. And one more announcement. I'll be talking more about this later. Some of you may already know. I will be speaking at, let me get it right, y'all. I don't, your girl been busy, child. I'll be speaking at the 2025 Job Liberation Summit for Black women. And I'll share more about that. The link for you to join, get tickets will be in the description. I will actually, I will share that. I will put that in tonight. And the thing some of you may not know about me, I have not worked for corporate America for over 7 years. Because I realized the hoodwink and bamboozling. And I don't knock anyone who continues to work for corporate, but what I wanted for my lifestyle, what I envisioned for my lifestyle, and the talents that I know I've been blessed with, I knew I didn't need corporate America. And so I encourage people who, by force or by desire, want to leave the shackles of corporate America to join this summit. I think it is an amazing summit. I will talk more about that. I'm not going to take up any more time about that tonight, but I did want to put it on your radar because tickets are on sale. It's the third weekend in May. And I want to say it's the 16th, 17th, and 18th. That Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I encourage you to attend. You have everyone from Libria Jones, who goes on before me, and she talks about she talks about remote work. She's the remote work expert. I had one-on-one sessions with Libria back in 2019 and 2020. Like, one of the other reasons why I do not have to rely on corporate America. Your favorites, Stephanie Perry, Rashida Jones, Dr. Kamani, who has been a guest on this channel in the past. Oh my goodness, Marissa Price is the other co-host. You probably have seen her all over. So they're both of them all over social media this week. Let me just shout out D. Hey, D, you're welcome. You're welcome. Anita Creations. So that link will be in the description, and I'll talk more about that later this week. Miss P says, I sincerely thank you, Kim. You are working a powerful ministry through your channel. And you know something, I have to accept it. I have to take it and not, me accepting, transformational compliments is not easy, but I get so many of them that I know this is nothing but divine, right? And so I thank everyone for sharing their journeys and being about that action. And that keeps me motivated, right? That keeps me motivated to keep going. And so I think I called out, yes, job liberation is next on the list. Listen, when you count out, now they want you to work till what, 60, is it 67 now? And they're thinking about going to 70? The devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. And you're supposed to, if you're blessed, be able to enjoy what another, if you're blessed, 10 to the devil is a lie, right? And many of us do not understand that we have been endowed specific gifts and talents. Read the parable of the talents, and that will lay it all out. If you're into reading the Bible, if you're not, just know the Creator, Yahweh, Jehovah, whatever you call him, Allah or her, has bestowed and endowed upon you gifts and talents that you can use to be successful and to be all right. So that's pretty much, that'll be my TED Talk during the summit. But again, I'll talk later. And so again, thank you everyone for joining tonight. Again, if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and do that. Turn on your notification bell. Hakeem is back next week, Wednesday. The following week, we have another guest speaker, which I'll be happy to announce next week. And I think that will be inspirational conversation as well. Go ahead and book your appointments with Hakeem. Go on his website, learn more about his channel. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm really going to be honest, because Hakeem is doing a lot for us, but I want him to put a timeline on it. I don't want this to be open-ended, because I know how that works, right? I know exactly. I don't think, because this is such a global platform and people can watch this at any time. So 5 months from now, this video will still be up. Hakeem's offer will not. And so I'm urging him to put a short, like a month-long timeline max on it, because I know what this can ultimately look like. And so saying all that to say, get in now while you can and take advantage. Again, he says he works with you no matter if you have, what is it, $20 million, I forgot the numbers, or $25 to, or the recurring basis to invest. So go ahead and book with him. And yeah, don't get caught. Oh, yeah. Thank you. No, I think listen, I only do things that I'm passionate about. I do not work in a corporate job that does not bring me passion. I don't attend events that do not bring me purpose and passion. And I value my time more than anything, right? And I say it over and over again. Time is the only commodity that you cannot get back. And that's the regrets that you'll have, the time that you waste, right? And so I choose to try to not waste time. So again, we're not going to keep you any longer. I do thank you for attending tonight. I do thank you for your questions. Next week will be your last chance to come on live and get questions answered. And we'll probably have an end date for Hakeem's offer then. I'm working on them. But again, until that time, go ahead and book your session and see if there's anything that I know there will be. So I'm hesitant to even say it. Get some help so that we're all stronger on the end of whatever this is. So thank you once again, everyone. Good night. Hey, you're so welcome, Sandra Blanchett. Welcome. I hope you subscribe to the Gym Nation. And I will see everyone live on Wednesday, but y'all know I tend to do a walk and talk on the weekend. Oh, happy Easter, happy Good Friday, happy Holy Week. And I think it's still, let me not lie. Hold on. Is it still Passover? I think it is still Is it still Passover? Is Passover over? I'm not sure. But happy Passover, even if it's a belated one. How many days is Passover? I forgot. But anyway, just wanted to say have a good night, everyone. Love you too, Christine. And Flawless Community, 8 o'clock tomorrow. Accountability group, 7 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. We're off from everything on Good Friday. Enjoy it. And I will see everyone at least on Wednesday, but maybe before. We'll see. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.